Chapter 5. The autumn air in Halifax had turned crisp, painting the city in hues of red and gold. Declan and Azalea sat side by side at Glitter Bean Cafe, tucked into the same corner table where so many of their memories had begun. Outside, rain drizzled softly against the window, the streetlights casting shimmering reflections on the wet pavement. Azalea cradled a chai latte in her hands, her pink hair loose around her shoulders. There was a faint tiredness in her eyes, a look Declan recognized from the long days she spent juggling classes, art projects, and late-night study sessions. "You look exhausted," Declan said gently, brushing his thumb across the back of her hand. "Are you even sleeping?" Azalea gave him a small, weary smile. "Not much. Midterms are brutal this year, and my art professor decided this was the perfect week to assign a huge portfolio project." Declan's chest tightened with sympathy. "You're incredible, you know that. You've got this." She let out a soft laugh. "You always say that." "Because it's true," he said firmly, meeting her gaze. "When this week is over, we'll take a whole day just for us. No homework, no stress, just you and me." Azalea's smile warmed, her shoulders relaxing a little. "That sounds perfect." For a moment, everything felt peaceful. The world narrowed down to the two of them, surrounded by the hum of the cafe and the steady rhythm of rain. The peace didn't last. Over the next few days, Declan found himself caught between long shifts at Sobeys Mumford Road and trying to be there for Azalea as she faced the pressure of midterms. Their schedules rarely aligned, leaving them communicating mostly through quick texts and late-night calls. Azalea text, "Hey, study session ran late. I'm wiped. Good night." Declan replying an hour later, "Good night, love you." The cracks began as tiny misunderstandings. Declan, tired after work, once forgot to call her back. Azalea, stressed and emotional, read too much into his silence. One evening, while Declan was closing up at Sobeys, he missed 3 of her messages. When he finally saw them, his heart sank. "Azalea, I feel like you're slipping away from me sometimes. Azalea, I know you're busy, but it hurts. Azalea, forget it. I'm probably overreacting." Declan rushed to call her, but she didn't pick up. A knot formed in his chest. The next evening, Declan drove straight to her dorm after work. Azalea let him in, arms crossed, her expression guarded. Her dorm room was scattered with sketchbooks and half-finished projects, a clear sign of her stress. "I'm sorry," Declan began immediately. "I didn't mean to miss your messages. Work was." Azalea cut him off, her voice trembling. "It's not just about that, Declan. Sometimes I feel like I'm alone in this. Like you don't understand how overwhelming this all is for me." Declan blinked, stung. "Of course I understand. I'm trying my best to be here for you, Azalea, but it feels like nothing I do is enough." Azalea's hands curled into fists at her sides. "I'm not saying you're not trying. Her voice cracked. "I need you, Declan, and when you're not here, it's hard." Her words pierced through him like a blade. He opened his mouth to respond, but anger and hurt tangled in his throat. "I am here. I've been here since the moment we met, but I can't read your mind, Azalea." The room went silent, the weight of their first real fight hanging in the air like a storm cloud. Declan couldn't stay, not like this. Without another word, he turned and left, his heart shattering with every step. Declan stumbled into the cold night air, his breath fogging in front of him. His chest felt tight as he started his car, the engine's low rumble barely masking the sound of his ragged breathing. He drove aimlessly at first, just needing to move to escape. The city lights blurred past him as tears welled in his eyes. When he reached the Angus L. MacDonald Bridge, He barely realized where he was until he was halfway across. The harbor stretched below like a dark mirror, the glow of Halifax behind him and the lights of Dartmouth ahead. A sad song began to play softly on the radio, one of those songs that seemed to understand heartbreak better than words ever could. The melody filled the car, wrapping around his thoughts like a haunting echo. Declan's vision blurred as his tears finally spilled over. The headlights of oncoming cars shimmered through his watery gaze, turning the world into a haze of light and shadow. He whispered to the empty car, his voice cracking, "I can't lose her, not like this." For a fleeting moment, Declan thought about just keeping driving, letting Dartmouth swallow him up so he wouldn't have to face what had just happened. The idea of distance, of silence, seemed almost easier than facing the pain. He crossed fully into Dartmouth, his heart pounding, until a familiar sign caught his eye. Esso 116 Wise Road. On impulse, Declan pulled into the gas station, parking beneath the buzzing fluorescent lights. Declan sat in his car at the Esso, the soft hum of the engine filling the silence. The smell of gasoline mixed with the cool, damp night air seeping through a cracked window. He rested his forehead on the steering wheel, shaking with sobs as the sad song reached its haunting chorus. The tears came hard and fast now, unstoppable. Images of Azalea flashed through his mind, her smile, her laughter, the way her pink hair caught the sunlight. He remembered the first time they met at the Killam Library, the coffee spill at Glitter Bean, every quiet moment and every promise they'd shared. "I can't lose her," Declan gasped to himself. His voice trembled as he looked up at the glowing lights of the Esso sign. "She's everything. She's my whole world." In that quiet, solitary moment, Declan made his choice. He wiped his face, hands still trembling, and whispered fiercely, "No, I'm not running away, not from her, not from us." Throwing the car into gear, he pulled out of the lot and headed back toward the bridge. This time, his drive wasn't aimless. It was a mission. As the Angus L. MacDonald Bridge came back into view, Declan's heartbeat quickened. The bridge lights shimmered like a golden path through the darkness, guiding him back to her. Each second felt like an eternity as he crossed over the harbor. The first time he'd driven this bridge tonight, it had been to flee, but now, every foot of asphalt beneath his tires symbolized a promise. "I'm coming back for you, Azalea." Declan gripped the steering wheel, his tears still wet on his face but his resolve unshakable. The storm wasn't over yet, but he was ready to fight through it. Declan's heart pounded as he parked outside her dorm. The rain had stopped, but the air was heavy with the scent of wet pavement. When Azalea opened the door, Declan's breath caught. Her eyes were swollen, her cheeks streaked with tears. Seeing her like that shattered something deep inside him. "Azalea!" His voice broke, his throat closing up. Tears welled in his eyes, blurring her image until all he could see was her pain. She let out a broken sob and rushed into his arms. Declan clung to her desperately, his own tears falling freely now. "I thought," he choked, his words trembling, "I thought I was losing you." Azalea cupped his face, her hands trembling but steady enough to ground him. "Never," she whispered fiercely, her voice raw but certain. "You'll never lose me, Declan. I love you too much." The moment those words hit, Declan completely broke down. A sob tore through him as he buried his face against her shoulder, his entire body shaking with emotion. He cried, not out of weakness, but out of a love so overwhelming it left no room for pride. "I was so scared," he gasped between sobs. "You mean everything to me, Azalea, everything. I don't ever want to go through this again." Azalea held him close, her own tears mingling with his. She pressed her lips to his ear and whispered through her crying, "You don't have to. I'm yours, Declan. Always." They stood there for what felt like forever, two hearts breaking and healing in the same breath. Later, they sat curled together on her bed, a blanket draped around them. Azalea traced circles on his palm with her fingertip, her breathing slow and steady. "I'm sorry I snapped," she murmured. "It's just, you're the only person I can truly lean on, and sometimes I get scared." Declan kissed her forehead softly. "I get scared too, but that's why we have to keep talking, no more bottling things up." Azalea nodded, her eyes glistening. "Deal." When Declan finally left that night, the storm between them had passed. As he walked back to his car, he glanced up at the night sky, the clouds parting to reveal a scattering of stars. Every relationship had storms, but this one had survived its first, and Declan knew in his heart they'd weather many more together.